Greetings everyone, it's your Peacekeeper, and it's time for the next video in our How to Play series on the Russian destroyer line. This is the Tier 5 Podvoisky class destroyer leader. As best as I can tell, because there's no real English history on this ship, the Podvoisky class is a destroyer leader concept from 1929. The destroyer leader concept, for those who aren't aware, they were basically larger destroyers with heavier armament, but, they fit in that slot between destroyer displacement, which was usually around 2,000 long tons, and that of a light cruiser, which is usually around 5,000 long tons. So these cruisers generally floated into that area between them. Size-wise, they had a physically larger stature than the average destroyer, but of course, as things kind of progressed in World War II, the destroyer leader concept kind of took off and then shortly died off as the concept and the need for these went away because your average destroyer just kept getting larger and larger and larger. In fact, this trend actually continues to this day with the Arleigh Burke class destroyers having basically the same displacement as World War II light cruisers. So, interesting that destroyers have gotten larger and larger over time, and yeah, that's the destroyer leader concept. Because there is no service history to talk about because it's a paper ship, we'll just keep on going on into that in-game playstyle. While attempting to continue the tradition of Izyaslav being a fast gunboat, the ship takes a noticeable sidestep in a few key areas over Izyaslav. For one, I don't feel like the guns are nearly as reliable at doing damage with high explosive, and the AP doesn't have any real pen value, so to speak. They seem to shatter shells quite frequently on superstructures of battleships, and at Tier 5, that's really not acceptable, because at Tier 5, battleships have basically zero superstructure armor. Not that they ever really get it to begin with, but it doesn't seem like the ship is nearly as reliable in really the gun department. And then the torpedo range drops down to 4 kilometers and you only get 2 triple launchers. Now, granted, they do more damage at 14,400 damage, but they really aren't that useful. I don't know. It feels to me like the ship just is in search of meaning, and it really doesn't seem to have any, especially compared to some of the other Tier 5 destroyers. At this tier, we've got Minakaze as a pure torpedo boat. We've got Nicholas as a gunboat. You've got a number of other destroyers at Tier 5 that are far more capable in my eyes, and this ship's guns, which is what this line is known for, really kind of let it down. Now, the interesting part about the ship is the ship does have 360-degree gun turrets, which is disgustingly useful at times, but because you're not doing nearly as much damage, it just, I don't know. I don't know of any good way to describe my lack of enthusiasm for this ship. Podvoisky also does pick up quite a bit of speed over Izyaslav, but the trade-off here is your base detection range goes through the roof, and while not a huge problem, this ship does rely heavily upon smoke and islands in order to really play to its best. So I definitely recommend, knowing when you can and can't bum rush battleships. It's a difficult skill to really master. But it's definitely a skill that the ship will tell you how to master, because I don't know that there's really any other way to describe how it plays. The guns, like I said, they're not as reliable at doing damage as Izyaslav, and that makes kind of a frustrating ship to play, but yeah, it is what it is. So let's talk about our stats then. This ship has 12,700 hit points, up to 13 millimeters of armor. Woo! It's right there. Yeah. Ooh, deck. We got a 13 millimeter deck. All right. So moving on from armor, we've got ourselves a main battery, which consists of 530 millimeter guns. They have a 12.6 kilometer range, 8.3 second reload time, 22.5 second 180 degree turn time, which isn't too bad. The 8% fire chance, man, that really doesn't feel like that's as high as it is. It doesn't start fires nearly as effective as that number would lead you to believe. And yes, you can jump that up if you get Demo Expert and use the flags. But overall, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like these guns are all that useful. The AP shell damage of 2,500, you know, that's 600 more than your HE shells are doing. But again, next to no pen value on these guns. So it doesn't seem like these have the selenium rounds that the Russian destroyers are oh so familiar with. In terms of torpedo tubes, again, we have 2 triple launchers. They are mounted out back. They have not fantastic arcs, owing in large part to the fact that we've got our launches, I guess we'll call them. You got a launch and a skiff there that kind of get in the way of the forward arcs on this front one, so you don't get nearly as good arcs with it. They have 4 kilometer range, 65 knot speed, 1.3 kilometer detection range, and 70-second reload time. And again, 14,400 damage when they do hit, which is quite nice. That hits pretty hard. AA guns, basically nothing worth mentioning, but I suppose we'll mention them anyway. 537mm guns, and there they are. Really not all that useful. The 3.9 kilometer range, that's going to be with advanced firing training. Yeah, not really worth noting. Max speed of 42 knots, which is probably one of the strong suits of this. It's very fast at tier 5. 700 meter turning circle radius, which is a bit sluggish, and a 3.2 second rudder shift time, which is acceptable. Detection range by sea, 7.5 kilometers. Detection range by air of 4.2 kilometers. Now let's talk about upgrades. So the first upgrade is still going to be Main Armaments Mod 1. That's for the 20% reduction in the chance of your main battery and torpedo tubes being incapacitated, adding 50% to their hit point pool and decreasing the time it takes to repair them by 20%. In the second slot, I'm taking Aiming Systems Mod 1 for the 7% reduction in dispersion of your main battery. 20% torpedo tube traverse speed is also quite nice. There are no secondaries worth mentioning, but yeah, that's that. Other options at this tier, you know, main battery mod 2, anytime you cut DPS in order to get faster turret traverse, I just don't see the benefit to it, especially on a ship like this, where its primary strength is going to be in its longer range gunnery due to its fast shell velocity. I just don't think that it's wise to run anything that cuts your rate of fire down, especially since at longer ranges, the turret traverse speed is less of an issue. AA Guns Mod 2, this ship has 0 AA worth mentioning, so no reason to take AA Guns Mod 2 in my books. In the third slot, I recommend Propulsion Systems Mod 1 for the 20% reduction in the chance of your engine becoming incapacitated, as well as a 20% reduction in the time it takes to repair them. Honorable mention to Steering Gears Mod 1 if you're one of those guys that prefers to run the steering gears mod. It's the same thing as the engine mod, except the propulsion mod, except for it's for your steering gears. Of the two, with Last Stand on the Destroyer Captain, I personally don't think that losing my steering is as big of an issue because Last Stand still allows me to steer. However, getting your engine taken out, yeah, you can crawl away, but it's very difficult to crawl away from ships at a speed at which you don't get killed. So me personally, I think losing my engines is more of a detriment than losing the rudder is. Now, Damage Control Systems Mod 1 really doesn't have any real use at all on destroyers. In fact, about the only ship that I would recommend these on would be the battleships. And maybe the carriers. Yeah, carriers too. And from there, we really don't have anything else to add consumables-wise, so let's go dive into a battle video. Alright, so we are, well, I think the map here is going to be Haven. We are in a Tier 7 fight. Yes, you heard that right, Tier 7. In fact, Tier 5 is a really hard tier to get used to, simply because of the fact that no matter what you seem to do, you always get stuck with a Tier 7 fight. Like, that's just the way Matchmaker works. You know, Tier 3 and Tier 4 kind of have their own preferential matchmaking, and, you know, it seems like Tier 5 kind of gets the short end of the deal. Tier 7 seems to be better at getting mostly, you know, Tier 5 matches, but, well, yeah. So, Podvoisky, on this map, we've got lots of islands, which is a fantastic thing. Zero complaints about lots of islands. We've got plenty of places to hide. General strategy for destroyer on this map is to go towards the southwest, and that's especially going to hold true in terms of, you know, when you spawn on the southern side of the map, the southeast corner. Now, I guess the match is predominantly tier 6 ships with only a handful of tier 7s, but as you will see, tier 7s are definitely a problem too. There is absolutely zero escaping any of this. Like, I don't know. I personally think that matchmaking definitely needs some attention to detail. You know, from wargaming, there's just a lot of things about the matchmaker that really is frustrating. And tier 5, seeing a lot of tier 7 matches really gets old when none of the tier 5 ships really seem to scale all that well in tier 7. Podvoisky being absolutely no exception here. In fact, Podvoisky going up against other destroyers really isn't too much of an issue because the HE pen issue seems to go away. But the battleships get much thicker superstructures as well as hull plating, both at the ends of it for the all or nothing armor schemes as well as the upper hull above the armor belt. And it just makes shooting at those ships very frustrating. We're going to see that more than a couple of occasions here. So we're chomping along here at 44 knots with our speed boost going. And, yep. So first ship that we're going to spot is going to be a Furutaka, which is a tier 5. Oh, we've got ourselves a Podvoisky. Well, we're going to shoot at him. We're going to pop our smoke here, and you can see, well, we did 1,200 damage with one salvo, and well, that doesn't seem too bad. That's because it's a destroyer. It doesn't have exactly a whole lot of armor. There's another 1,200 damage. Now, I do know for a fact, because I'm playing a Podvoisky, that the maximum amount of torpedo range is only going to be 5k. So that means I really don't have to worry about his torpedoes. However, Furutaka's torpedoes, I think, are either 8 or 10k. I don't remember which. Thankfully, we've got this island between us and him. So that means he's not going to be too much of an issue here. However, my aiming is definitely an issue. It definitely does not help. Shooting at ships that are coming towards you can be kind of visually messy. So we got ourselves some 1,200 damage and a fire started. We're running out of ships to really spot. Our Sims has laid a nice little smoke cloud there. And you'll notice that this match, I only have a 10.5k range. This is before I had advanced firing training on the captain. That 12.5k range would have came in handy on this map, but yeah. Well, so that... ooh, Furutaka coming close. Alright, well, he's starting to turn this way. We're going to go ahead and we're going to launch our torps there. You can see the torpedo angles. Ooh, we're up on hydro. And down goes. Okay, well, ooh, torpedoes. Quick! Slam on the brakes! Turn hard to port. Starboard. To the left. I'm not in the Navy. Alright, so we got ourselves a destroyer that pops up. And once again, we're gonna try and engage him and do what we can. You can see here, we're shooting at this ship at a non-trivial ranges, and we're only getting 2 hits at most. I mean, there's 1 hit. I can't help but think to myself, like, there's got to be something better than this, because only getting 2 hits at these ranges seems a bit absurd to me. I don't know. Well, there's 0 hits because, lol skill. But, okay. Podvoisky. Lead. Shoot. Maybe we can get ourselves a kill. Yes. Finished him. Which is a good thing. Probably saved our Sims. I'm just kidding. Probably didn't. I don't think his torpedoes are going to get over here. We don't have to worry too much about that. But that's a perfect example of knowing where to aim when a ship is moving behind cover. And that's a good skill to learn in the long run. But for the immediacy, if you don't have that skill, it's not a huge deal here. We are going to go ahead and, engage out in the open with absolutely no real attempt to hide, because the Atlanta is thoroughly distracted in here. He's got a lot of targets for him to shoot at. Oop, there's 2k. We got 4 hits on him. He's only cruiser sized. One thing I'd want to point out is, this ship has a fraction of the guns that Atlanta has, but has a much longer reload time. That just seems weird to me. So this Leander is just begging to get destroyed. So is that Königsberg, for that fact. Sailing. Oh, down goes the Atlanta. Did I say Atlanta is begging to be destroyed? I really meant the Leander. I don't know if that came up or not, but okay. So we got ourselves a Akatsuki over here. Let's go ahead and deal with him or her. My bad, her. And of course, guns are traversing, which is nothing short of fantastic. And again, 360-degree guns, kind of useful. There's some advantage to it. They just take forever. So this is really what happens. You've got Akatsuki and you've got Podvoisky. Both ships are just struggling to get their guns to come on bear. Ooh, there was a pretty solid hit there, about 4K worth of damage. Just really struggling to get those guns on target to really take advantage of them. But Akatsuki is... he launched torpedoes. There they are. And anytime you're engaging any type of destroyer in a destroyer-destroyer engagement, it's always a good thing to anticipate his launching of torpedoes. Pay attention to the signs, like here's a sign. He is turning to expose, you know, that broadside profile. No torpedoes up yet. And can we get the kill before he gets taken? Yes. Now, I don't know where his other set of torpedoes are, but it's worth noting that we definitely need to turn. We definitely need to slow down. Anything to really, you know, cause those torpedoes to miss. So once again, look at those not torpedoes. Wow, look at those. Look at those main guns traverse through their 360-degree arcs. It's kind of fun to watch, but situationally, we've got a problem, and that's that our cap is almost 3/4 of the way capped. Now, we've managed to get some guys over there to prevent further capping. However, this comes with the added downside that if they don't seem to kill everything that's up there, well, that would mean we would lose. So let's go up there and let's try and help them out as best we can. Obviously, there's a destroyer up there. We've got a bunch of battleships basically contending for the defense of our cap, and that doesn't always end well. Sometimes they need something a little bit lighter that can deal with the faster ships, like the destroyer that's in there. On the good news, though, we've managed to reset the cap, and hopefully these ships all together can kill that destroyer, so that by the time I get there, well, it's less of an interesting party, shall we say. Waiting really for that speed boost to come up, and we left ourselves kind of positionally out. And actually, I'm really curious to know how that Akatsuki managed to try and sneak all the way around. I guess it was kind of a fluke that we managed to spot him, because I didn't have RPF, and I would not have picked him to be there based upon what was seen in the on the map. And looks like, yep, down goes our Gneisenau. That leaves their Gneisenau, and a Congo and a Miyoko sitting up here. Now, we've not taken any damage this entire time, and we're up to 27,000 damage and 2 kills. So let's see if we can add some more, shall we? So we've got coming up here, you know, these other ships, they definitely need some assistance here. I don't know what's going on or why they aren't focusing down. They need to kill this Miyoko fast. He's really presenting just that profile. There's no reason for him to be alive, but they seem more interested in... Oh! Okay, well, let's see if we can't get the kill on the Miyoko then. This is nothing but shameless kill securing. What? Well, it happens. So now that we've got speed boost going, we've got ourselves Gneisenau here. We've got 360-degree turrets turn in here. There's no reason we can't begin to engage, but look at some of these damage numbers that come up. Ooh, down goes the Congo. Both those shells broke and probably impacted on some heavier things. Again, more shells breaking, not necessarily a good thing. Nagato there, launching our torpedoes. And, you know, we need to pop our smoke and get out of the spotting distances here on this Gneisenau. Now, I probably should have anticipated this, because quite honestly, this really isn't that surprising. But he turned away, which is super annoying. And we are, again, trying to get some damage here. 628 with 2 penetrating hits. And this is the problem that I run into. You know, that on other ships is 1,200 damage. Apparently on this, it's only 628. Again, 2 penetrating hits and near 0 levels of damage. That's fantastic. Not really. 4 hits for 1,200 damage. So again, we're not getting full damage on all of these, and that's really quite annoying. Switch to AP there, and that finishes him off. Alright, Congo. Let's see if we can't finish ourselves off a Congo. Now, my goal here is to stay in the smoke as long as possible. The Congo's not capping the point right now. We've got 17 seconds on the smoke cloud that we're currently in. And you're going to see that's going to go up just a little bit every time I move forward, simply because, you know, we're getting into the newer laid smoke clouds. But so Congo is here, and we need to address that. Leander is definitely in a bad position. We've got a Shores that is also down there. Neither one of those two really probably in any real good shape to actually take advantage of this Congo and kill him, so we definitely need to do something about that. But we can't forget about Mr. Bugioni. He is kind of a jerk face over there, and he can spot me, and he can definitely hit me. So trying to get ourselves, you know, as best of an angle as we possibly can, get as close as we possibly can to deal with this Congo, force him into making a turn that he's not going to enjoy, and pray. We're going to hold on to that second set here. See what happens with the first set. You never know with these ships if they decide to turn at the last minute or if they're going to eat all of your torpedoes like that. Well, he ate 2 of the torpedoes. Oh, time to run away. So now we're going to turn and run as best we possibly can. Try and avoid as much damage as we possibly can. We're up to 52,999 damage with 4 kills. And ouch, that hurt. Now we've got a choice to make here. This Budioni is in a much better position health-wise than I am, and unfortunately he is going to be able to take out any of these other ships that are over here without any real help. So the best thing I could do right now is go ahead and spot. Now they have a battleship left. It's the Texas. It's all the way over there. We've got ourselves a oh, wait, what? They've got 2 battleships left. A Nelson and a Texas. I'm being kind of selfish here. I would like to get the Kraken because that would just be awesome. So we're going to see if we can't catch up to this Nelson. The Leander and Shores, you know, they're doing what they can to stay, not get detected. I don't blame them. I definitely would do the same thing in their hands. So we're going to go see if we can't chase after the Nelson. If we can't deal with him, we're going to try and deal with the Texas. Unfortunately, our Shores fired at the Budioni or at the Nelson. I don't know which one, but either way, he got spotted. And probably not what I would have chosen to do with the Budioni there, especially since he had somebody spotting the Budioni. Nelson is looking like he's going to get killed before I get there. That's fine. Down he goes. And we are ahead by quite a lot of ships, but we could go down quite quickly. They've got a full health Budioni, and I have no idea how many hit points that Texas has left, but if I had to imagine, it's probably near full, because that would be the logical thing for him to do. You know, hiding back. That's totally the strength of that ship. No, it's not. So we're going to go and we're going to try and find him to make sure that he doesn't make any surprise runs on any of our cruisers that are coming around into the middle part over here. Now, with that in mind, we're going to shoot real quick at Budioni here because we can behind an island, but the benefit to you know, these islands here is Texas can't see me, but I can see him. Also, the York appears to be in a position to actually take advantage of him. Oop. So we're going to disappear behind an island, but we're getting spotted by aircraft. Now, the York has managed to attract the attention of the Budioni. I'm detected anyway. Might as well continue to engage. Well, we finally went dark again, so we'll leave it off for now. But oh, there's the Texas. Okay, so the Texas has half his hit points left. Oh. The York, we're down to like a bunch of really beat up ships here, so this is going to require some definite tactics here. There's some things that are going to need to happen in order for us to win this. Basically, the 3 down there need to stay alive as best as possible. This York needs to stay alive as best as possible. And I just need to flat get into torpedo range of this Texas and take him out. The good news is about Texas is that the Texas has really bad secondaries. The 5-inch guns, the 5-inch 25 caliber guns really aren't very good. But we can definitely take advantage of him by trying to start him on fire from the comfort of our own island over here. Now, we're going to pop smoke, though, and take, our time doing this. It's just, we're going to lose him once we start in the smoke. So we might as well begin our engagement and see what we can't get. I'm hoping that this will bait him into coming a little bit closer with the way that the spotting plane is on the York. This might end well, it might end poorly. Ooh, he shot, so hopefully that should cause him to pop up a little bit more with that spotting plane. But we're just going to blind fire in the area where we last knew him, where he was at, and that should help us quite a bit. A little bit of hard cover use here, really not important at this point. I don't think the New York is actually going, or Texas is going to get anywhere with regards to shooting at me in the smoke. And nope. Okay, so the U.S. battleships, all or nothing armor scheme. There's it'd be nice to see what these damage numbers are. Whoop. Okay, that was plenty close. Let's go see if we can't locate him in a more aggressive manner, shall we? We are so close to being detected anyway, it almost doesn't matter. And the best part is he just shot, so he's probably got about 15 seconds left. We're holding fire until we get detected. There it is. Okay, so now we're going to engage him. And he's going to have to pick between myself or the York. If he doesn't pick me... Oh, okay, so he picked me, kicked the rudder over, and missed there. Here comes some more. Get over the other way, and ow, ow. Okay, so he's gotten some pretty good hits. We've got 30 seconds now at which we can actually engage him. And my goal is to get close enough to him to launch torpedoes. Now, he's obviously seeing this happening, and he knows that his best chance is to run away. So there was an attempt to use AP since he was basically broadside. And now I'm going to do something that is very, very cheeky. Basically, I'm going to... Miss me? I'm going to use his turret traverse against him. So... By cutting this distance here, it's not very easy for him to actually track me with his guns because I'm just cutting just enough. Now I should be cutting more to the side here, and he can't quite keep his turrets up. He's gonna have to start turning to open up and engage me. Now at this point, he's basically got no option but to eat torpedoes, and he can't even bring his guns to bear. If he turns to the left, he's going to end up eating a whole bunch of torpedoes. If he turns to the right, he's still going to eat torpedoes, and down he goes for the Kraken Unleashed. We're up to 84,598 damage, and now it's time to see if we can't go find this Vidioni before the end of the match. Now, you've seen a couple of the tactics that I've used here to get successful torpedo attacks off. It's basically going to require you to, well, to use what courage you can to charge some of these guys, and it's going to require you to pay attention to what the ships are doing. Now, I could tell that this Texas was firing HE at this York. Personally, I wouldn't have done that. That to me tells me that probably not a whole lot of experience in battleships. He had just enough to actually tell that he needed to turn away from me, so maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. But personally, you know, you got to pay attention to that. So 84,599 damage, 5 kills, 1,927 base XP. You can see not a whole lot in fires or floods this match. And there's the credits and XP screen. Anyway, the ship really does reward a very aggressive play style with the torpedoes, but the guns, they're okay. They're not Izyaslav's guns. Don't expect them to be the same. Anyway, I'm your Peacekeeper. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for watching.